Hi, I'm Nancy Fry, and I am Director of Academic Programming here at Health Sciences High and Middle College. You know, as a school that serves students in grades 8 through 12, literacy is an essential part of their gains that they're able to make as they move through the secondary schooling system. School-wide literacy, therefore, has really been an emphasis here at HSHMC. We know that we need students to be able to read complex text, to discuss complex text, and to be able to compose complex text. And it would certainly be expected that an English language arts team might take the lead on school-wide literacy. But we've really seen the science team take the lead on that, and to really be able to demonstrate how it is that those literacies around reading, discussing, and composing complex text are an essential part of how it is that students learn content, in this particular case, in science. What they've been able to accomplish is to really lend a lot of credibility to what it is that we always say, which is that literacy is at the heart of all knowledge and learning, regardless of the subject area.
We teach at Health Sciences High and Middle College. It's a Title I school in San Diego in a neighborhood called City Heights. About 75% of our students and families qualify for free and reduced lunch. It's a very diverse neighborhood, and our student population reflects that diversity. As part of that, some of our students struggle in certain areas. And so when we started our PLC and the cycle of continuous improvement, we kind of looked for where are we going to start, where are our biggest gaps, and how are we going to help put in supports to fill those gaps and help those students see some gains in their achievement. And so one of the things we noticed was that on our Speck scores, it showed that 54.67% of our students met or exceeded the English language arts proficiency standard. And so we were saying, just over half of our students are meeting that standard. So how can we help bridge that and increase that number, that more are meeting it. We also started looking at things like our Lexile data. And
so we noticed that we have a lot of students entering our high school that are reading below grade level. And in addition, we have a reading program that helps us determine how many students are on track to actually meet the college and career readiness indicator. And we noticed as a science department that only 29% of our students were projected to meet that. Yeah. So that read to us that we
was a red flag, right?
Yeah.
And especially as a school with a career and college readiness component, if only that amount of our students are meeting that standard based on their Lexile level, then we need to do some more work in reading and writing across the content and across our school. So.
And as a reading strategy, we as a school have put a lot of emphasis on close reading. And so the science department, as part of our cycle of continuous improvement, we dedicated a lot of time as to how teachers implement that, and we talk about different strategies.
Yeah, looking at articles, reading some text on that, and then getting in other teachers' classrooms. So being in our English teachers' classrooms, so we could observe how do they implement close reads and these strategies within their class, and how we take it over and use it in our class.
Yeah, and some people might be thinking, reading strategies in a science class, that's really interesting. But it's really important because we are introducing our students to different complex texts within science. And as a part of the next generation science standards, which we have in California, there's a huge component in writing argumentative pieces based off of evidence.
Claimed evidence reasoning. So that was another area that I wanted to strengthen within my classroom, but also within our department, was the CR, because it's such a foundational piece. And they also see those same types of writing prompts on the SBAC. So I started building those in and looking at how could I strengthen it. So I brought some of my initial CERs to our PLC once we kind of got rolling with our goal, and got some feedback on it as far as grading, how we could apply some sentence frames and supports and practice.
Claim evidence reasoning. It's given that we provided the claim, we give the evidence that it's asking for in the question, and then restating in our own words is kind of like the reasoning we give.
After looking at our data and kind of identifying where those gaps were and where the areas of need were for our students, our science department, as part of our PLC, decided and came up with a SMART goal, and its students will identify evidence from various science texts to support their claim as measured by science department assessments.
After we had our SMART goal as a department, one of the things that we did was we wanted to do a book study, and we read the Visible Learning for Science book, and that was really great for us to do because it gave us some ideas of different strategies that we can use that would help with literacy in our science class. So one of the strategies that we were excited about as a team was reciprocal teaching, and we were excited because it has an effect size of 0.74, and so we know the importance of using it over and over again and infusing it throughout our different classes in science so that students will get really good at it in order to find evidence from a text and then use that in their CER. And so Cody and I, we got to co-teach in biology, and so I'll let Cody kind of mention.
Yeah, so the first thing we were trying to do is really trying to gather some resources and figure out where could we go with this. So you found that good video of the second graders doing this reciprocal teaching, which you thought was amazing. I kind of looked out some articles to try and figure out what are some structures we could use, what are some sentence frames, what are some roles that we could use to really get started and have a nice foundation for our reciprocal teaching. And I think a lot of ideas got bounced back and forth. We were co-teaching at the time, and so we were really trying to dial in this reciprocal teaching to benefit our students to have those text-based conversations. We continually make kind of small tweaks and small changes to figure out what's best for our students. And then after we kind of figured out what worked and what didn't work, we brought it to our team and really had kind of that collaborative piece to figure out how can we roll this out school-wide, how does this look for all of our science classes, and what are some changes that would benefit our students even further.
Yeah, it was nice having a co-teacher to try out a new strategy because we could co-plan together and then observe each other as we were teaching and then help comment on that. And then we would also bring those things that we did within our classroom to our science PLC. And that was really nice because in addition to feedback from one another, we opened it up to everybody else in the department and we got a lot of great feedback about how we could improve it and also help spark some ideas with other members of the science department.
Being a first year teacher, one of the most challenging things for me is that I don't have a lot of experience. With that, when working with the PLC and especially my instructional coach who is in my PLC, I have the chance to really learn from her, and she provides me with articles that I can use in my classroom. So one of the things that we do at the school is that we use a lot of close reads. With those close reads, before being here at this school, I didn't really understand how to apply them and use them in my classroom, and so she helped me apply those articles on close reads and how to do those close reads better. So then I can get articles for the students and then use those techniques to really come back and look at the text for the close read. Also in PLCs, we bring in material from our classes, we bring in data, and then we're able to analyze that data as a group to see where students struggled and then where students did well, and how to challenge students that did well, and then how to support the students that struggled and maybe need that little extra support just to understand the content and make it more applicable to them.
So when we think about the idea of refining our practices, the Science PLC has spent some time working on the ideas of reciprocal teaching. And we've had a couple of different ways that we've done that. One was we had Cody and Kim, right, first take on really working on these reciprocal teaching, and they brought the student work and the teacher work to our PLC. We were able to see how they structured it, what types of articles they picked, and sort of like what scaffolds they provided for the students. They had some ideas about sentence frames to go along with each of like the discussion points. And I know we had a conversation sort of about that vertical alignment and how many sentence frames should we provide for a 9th grader versus an 11th grader or a 12th grader. And I made some refinements in choosing to pull back on some of those sentence frames. So like the first discussion they were able to have sentence frames, and the second and the third, then they just had boxes with the descriptions of the titles. I know you did something different though.
Right, so I was struggling with students not having many discussions centered around the text. So I was able to reach out to some of my colleagues, and we were able to make some adjustments to the graphic organizer that we used for the note taking to eliminate some of the structures with the roles, which really promoted the discussions to happen centered around the text.
I also like the reciprocal teaching the most because it makes it easier to help understand the text, because when you don't understand anything or don't get the concept of it, you can always ask a peer and figure out what that meaning is behind it, and which makes it easier for me to learn the topic.
I think a lot of the work we've been doing in the science content, I think that's helped support all of our students so that they're performing better in all their reading and writing assessments and different ways of measuring their success. So our students are doing a lot better.
So one of the things that I'm really proud of is, as a school, with these efforts, including the things that we've done in the science department, we've had a school-wide Lexile growth of 162, which is huge, because I think 50 is about the national average for Lexile gains. And then we got our SBAC scores just recently, and we had an increase in our ELA scores to 57.03%.
I'm really proud of what the Science PLC has been able to accomplish, and especially in being able to model how important it is that we all have collective responsibility for how it is that our students do. You know, that PLC has been so instrumental in being transparent about their work, about their challenges, about the gains they have made, and the places where they're not seeing as much traction at this particular time. That collective responsibility, being able to show people that it's essential that we all think about the whole child, which is uncommon in secondary schools, but that we think about the whole child, is critical to what it is that we're collectively able to accomplish.
Thanks for watching.